Morning everybody, welcome back. Saturday in the shop today. Gonna work on the Shovelhead a little bit. Started this, geez, I don't know, might have been 6 weeks ago or so now. Had a lot of good feedback on this, so seems like something people are interested in seeing us do. And we started on it, so we need to get it done. Today I'm gonna finish getting it torn down. I'm gonna get the tranny out, the oil tank out. I really didn't like this fender that we started mocking up with it, so I ordered a different fender. We'll see how that looks. We're going to try and fit our new transmission we're going to use. I got to get this lift cleaned off. It's a super big mess. A lot of parts that we're taking off and we're not going to use, so I don't know. That's what we're going to do today. We'll see what else gets done, if we can get all that done with the progress-wise. And that's it. We're going to get to work. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to start getting everything taken out of our way. So I'm going to pull the tranny. That speeds things up a little bit. Yep, something else is attached on the other side. Yep, all right. So if anybody is in the market for ratchet top 4-speed, kick only, engine and a half belt setup, we're going to be selling that. We're not going to use it on this bike. It'll eventually make it to our eBay store, but if you're interested, let us know. We'll get you guys hooked up before we list it on eBay. We could rebuild the tranny for you before we ship it out if that's something you're interested in. It does appear to be functioning okay. I just am changing in favor of a Softail 5-speed transmission because I'm lazy and I don't want to kickstart. So that's the only reason we're not using it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this oil tank unbolted and get it out of our way. Because we're also not using it. It's too wide for the frame. I think it's a Softail oil tank and a rigid frame. I just don't like the way it looks. So. Alright, so that's out of there. I'm going to pop our seat off, get it out of the way for now, and pull this fender out of here. So originally when this project got started, I was trying to keep it budget. That's why I bought this pre-made sissy bar. I don't not like the pre-made sissy bar, but the fit of a lot of that fender and one other fender that I tried I really did not like. So we may end up ditching that sissy bar and making one if this new Fender I got also doesn't fit how I want, because at this point I've pretty much accepted the fact that this bike is not going to stick to a budget, because I want it to turn out how I want it to turn out, and it's just how it's going to be. So I did pick up this transmission plate, which is supposed to be for a 5-speed transmission and a 4-speed frame. However, I will say that I have had zero luck ever buying a transmission plate and having it actually work for the transmission frame that I supposedly have. So there's a good chance I'm going to end up modifying it. That's usually what I do. I'm sure there's tons of guys who know exactly what transmission plates fit with what transmission and blah 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 blah. I have always just made stuff work, so I don't know, you know, I don't know what year fits with that and whatever, like off the top of my head. Can always figure it out, but it's just, for me, easier to just make stuff fit if it doesn't fit how I was expecting. So well, it looks like it lines up that way, so maybe I had it in backwards. But that sure looks like it's going to be a hell of a lot of offset on the transmission plate for the transmission to line up. So, but let's see. We'll give it a try. Quickly bolt this on. Alright, so here's our super crusty ass Softail transmission, which will obviously get refurbished before the bike is complete. But alright, that looks like too much of an offset. If I flip the tranny over, or the tranny plate over, I think that won't work because it's got, it might. But I am going to strip off the rest of this bullshit off this transmission, and then we'll grab the primary plate and slide that on. But yeah, this transmission needs to go over that way, so maybe we'll try flip the plate over the other way and see if that works. Okay, so actually that looks like what you want, but this trans top is hitting the, maybe we gotta put the plate on and then slide it in. Look at that. I may have actually gotten the right tranny plate for once. Looks like this is going to bolt in. Looks like the fifth mount is actually got the stud from the transmission dropped right in. Alright, so sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Looks like we might be okay with our tranny plate. Get rid of this. This has got to be the crustiest transmission I have ever seen, but it still spins and shifts gears and everything appropriately. I think it's just really grimy on the outside, which is fine. We'll clean it all up, and we'll take it apart if we have to, but so far it just looks like it sat out in the Florida weather. The outside got real crusty, which is very common for our neck of the woods. So cool, that's done. I am going to locate our oil tank, which is here somewhere. But first thing I'm going to do is get this lift cleared off of all the junk we're not going to be using, so we have a clean work area. And Nicole will probably be here, and I don't even know what time it is. It's probably still super early, but whenever she gets here, she'll know where all the parts are. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing cleaned up and get ready to install some new parts. We'll have to probably do some little bit of fab and keep on rolling. Hey guys, just a quick interruption. If you've been watching, most of you know we're going to Cycle Showcase weekend after next in St. Louis. It's the February 7th and 8th, I believe. So if you watch our videos and you're going to be at Cycle Showcase, make sure you're following us, and first person to come find us and show us that you are subscribed to the channel, we'll have a prize pack for you. You know, I don't know what it's going to be, t-shirt, hat, some stickers, whatever. We're going to put something together. So just thought it'd be something fun to do if you're going to be out at Cycle Showcase and you know us, look for us, and come say hi. Alright, so we're going to be using an open primary on this bike, and so this race here, which is used for the closed primaries, obviously has to go. So a couple different ways you can do this. I have the puller, which is a special tool. Not that special, but anyway, it's a tool that'll help you pull it off. Alright, so if you don't have that tool and you're doing one bike and you don't want to spend the money on it, I totally get that. What you do is, while this is in place, take a small cutoff wheel. You can use a Dremel or an air cutoff wheel or whatever, and delicately cut through this until you get about 3/4 to 7/8 of the way through it. Then take a cold chisel, give it a whack with a hammer. This'll, because it's such a hardened race, it'll crack right on that cut line you made and open up. You can slide it right off with your hand. So I totally get it. If you're like building one bike, why would you want to necessarily buy a tool? I mean, they're pretty inexpensive on Amazon now. You can get some cheap ones for like, I think 30 or 40 bucks. That happens to be a Jim's one. I have a couple of different ones. Honestly, I'm not even sure where they came from. I guess over the years I bought them, or I did get a whole set of tools I bought off a guy, so maybe one came in there. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so that's how you do that, because your open primary just has a sealed bearing that slides in on this transmission shaft, and you can't have that race in the way. So also going to go ahead and get this belt pulley off, because we are definitely not going to run a drive belt on this thing. So this one I don't have any tricks for. So you get your lock plate off, and then you need this super long socket. Again, I think they're available pretty cheap now. I've had this one for years and years, since I built my first Harley. Back then there wasn't any cheap ones. I think I paid like 140 bucks for it. I guess actually I take that back. If you really don't want to spend the money, you could get a socket, cut it in half, and weld a piece of tubing in it. That's basically what this is. So you do have that as an option, but like I said, I'm pretty sure on Amazon now they've got some real cheap ones, so it's probably not worth the time. Just a reminder, that nut is reverse threads, so you go clockwise to tighten it. We won't be needing that. I'll put our nut back on here so we don't lose it. I don't think I have a sprocket in stock, but I'm not 100% sure, so we'll have to figure that out. And then we can figure out our sprocket spacing and all that good stuff. I am going to just mock up our primary on here. I don't know if it'll be today or not, but just to confirm that we have our trans offset right, because like I said, I've not ever had the best luck with these transmission plates. And like, I'm looking at this one and I'm thinking this can't be right, because I can't even get access to this back bolt here on the transmission plate. I don't know. I guess I should just grab a primary and slide it on here and see if it fits, and that'll tell us. Save me a bunch of wondering. Alright, so this is our belt drive we're going to run here. It's an Ultima 2-inch old school. We use these quite often. They look pretty decent. I like the way they work. Majority of the time they work well. And we do have some kind of cool modifications we do to them to make them look a little nicer. So, lots of little boxes. And here's what we really need for right this minute. Alright, so it looks like we do have our right tranny plate, which is pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of excited about that. First time I have done this with a tranny plate I bought and had success. So I guess we'll go ahead and bolt this plate on here while we... Nice. Good looking tranny plate on here. This motor has not had a motor plate bolted to it in God knows how long. It had no inner plate with the old school kick open belt it had. So two of these bolts wouldn't go in. I'm assuming there's probably crap in the threads. I hadn't really even looked at it. So, but this motor's coming out and coming apart anyway, so we'll deal with all that at that point. Now we got a big old mess. Whoever invented packing peanuts, I hate you with a passion. And that is all. Alright guys, well, we got the lift all cleaned off. We got all the trash off the bike. And just our parts we're going to be using remain. So, I went and grabbed the oil tank. And I'm going to look at mounting this thing up. Just a kind of barrel style chrome oil tank with the battery box in the back. Nothing too crazy, just real simple. And grab a tap and clean out these threads. Alright, so we got that on. This will mount to this plate. And all this shit hardware will get replaced with good stainless hardware when we do the final assembly. So we slipped it in here. We got to get a couple bolts and bolt this to the frame. Looks like this stud is a little long here. Gonna have to cut this off to clear the top of the transmission. Alright, so got that stud trimmed off the bottom. Okay, so we're gonna have to make a custom mount here. This rubber mount they gave us is not to clear the primary. And get us up high. So if we get rid of this altogether and we make one spacer to raise up the center, we can put our plate back on. This mounting plate will go back in the frame. See if I can show you guys. Got to move camera positions. Alright, so we're going to remount our plate here. We can figure out how thick of a spacer we need. Hold this right here and get a measurement between our plate and our mounting bung, which would be a lot easier if I had a second person to hold this while I measured. But no one else is stupid enough to get to work at 5 o'clock in the morning except me, so I'm left to work alone. Try a tape measure. Alright, so looks like if we go 1.5 inches, oh, nope, I'm lying because we got to get that level. I'm going to go about just over 2 inches. So, get a piece of material. Let's see what size this is around. That's 1 inch, so we'll get a piece of 1 inch aluminum and we'll make up a quick spacer bung and get back to getting this oil tank mounted. Alright, so we got our spacer machined up. Gonna mount it on our oil tank here. Obviously this spacer will get polished when we do the final assembly, but for now everything's just getting mocked up because since we don't know exactly how it's all going to work out, we may end up having to change things or whatever, so it just makes it easier to not do any real finishing work until we're actually finished. Might shorten that spacer like a 1/4 inch to get a little gap up top, but overall real happy with how that's fitting. We got a little bit more room underneath, but the curvature of the tank fits the curvature of the primary nicely, and I think I'm going to leave it like that until we get a starter, just to make sure we got enough room for the starter. I don't think I have a starter around here, but I'll see if I can't maybe find one just to use to mock up, even if it's junk.
This one will just slide back right there.
It's tight. In there, is there a little hammer right there? Yeah, just.
Here.
Oh, hang on. This is the problem.
Oh, there you go. Spacer. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. That spacer doesn't fit the frame right,
oh,
so.
Okay.
But we'll deal with that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a million times better.
Perfect. So first thing, we'll make a spacer.
I would cut it off right where it starts to lift.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's, but I figure I'll make a spacer, we'll mount the bottom to start.
Yeah.
Tape measure. Look at this.
Tape measure, right handy. Oh, spacer?
Maybe.
Oh, sweet. And if you don't mind doing it,
Yeah.
it's even better, you know?
All right, so we got our bottom fender mount in, got our fender squared up. We're gonna make a little mounting plate here for our fender, and then decide where we want to lop this fender off on the back. I ditched the sissy bar completely. That's 100% decided, and we'll decide if we want to make some just maybe fender struts, or if we want to make a small loop sissy bar or tall one. I don't know. I can't really decide on that yet. Sometimes I think sissy bars, tall sissy bars, are kind of getting played out. They're just on everything, so I don't know. We'll see what we decide with that, I guess, once we get the rest of the fender done. All right, so we're going to measure up for our mid fender mount here. Looks like we got about 4.5 inches by 1.75 inches. Pop a couple holes in it. Then we'll just go ahead and weld that to the fender and drill and tap the frame to get the mid mount bolted in place. Alright, so we got our little fender mount cut. This will go right in here, get welded to the fender, and then we'll drill and tap the frame. Alright, last piece we're going to make for the day is our rear oil tank mounts. So there's two mounting tabs on the back here. Not sure if you can, yeah, if I slide it to the side you can kind of see them. So just got to make basically an L bracket that'll drop. We'll weld it to the frame here so it'll drop down and then bend over and bolt there. So really simple stuff, but just something that's got to get made. So we'll go 2.25 inches by 1 inch. We'll slot those holes and then be able to bolt these in. Won't be able to weld them obviously, like the welder is stuck, but we'll bolt that all in there, and then when we get some access, it'll be easy to weld stuff up quickly. Alright, so nice simple little bracket that will fit right in here and bolt on there, and grab some bolt nut. So there you go, brackets right here. We'll put a nice weld in there. We'll close up this old hole. Somebody had spring perch on there before, and we'll just make another one for the other side and be all set for the day. Alright guys, that's going to be a wrap for today. Real happy with the progress. We got our tranny swapped out. We got our oil tank mounted. We got our fender halfway mounted. Still got to decide about the sissy bar versus fender struts situation. So I'm going to give that some thought. If you guys have a thought, chime in, let me know what you think. And that's it. So not a ton of stuff, but lots of important stuff done up. Bike's looking a lot better now, really decluttered and de-uglied. So next time around we'll be able to get the welder over here. We'll weld all those mounts on and weld our seat mount on, and then we'll start figuring out foot controls. Not 100% sure what I'm going to do there. I really do like mid controls, but I'm kind of big, and so normally they're very uncomfortable. So I might play around with something slightly mid, you know, like in between mid and forwards. I don't know. We'll see. Going to play with that, and then we got to start figuring out exhaust fab, I guess, will be the next big piece. So anyway, that's what we're going to be up to next week. will be our last week in the shop before Cycle Showcase, so I'm going to have trailer loading and all that good stuff. So we'll see what kind of... Alright, so anyway, we'll see what kind of content we can come up with for next week, and then obviously while we're on the road at Cycle Showcase, might try to go live if I can figure out how to go live on our YouTube off my phone. I think I can do that, I'm not sure, but probably try to do that if we can, and obviously we'll have a bunch of footage which we'll put into a regular video for Cycle Showcase as well, and that's it. That's going to wrap out the next several weeks for us. So, as always, appreciate you guys spending a little bit of time with us, and we hope to see you next time at Gattis Garage.